Hello, welcome to another edition of Darth Vader is Your Father. I'm your host, James Lott Jr., and I always like finding out these little things that I didn't know, or maybe you didn't know, so I want to share them with you. That's what this podcast is about. But first, go ahead, subscribe, like, and comment on any streaming service. If you're on YouTube, go to JLJ Media. If you are on audio podcast, thank you all podcasters who are listening to this. And thank you everybody who's listening to this podcast. The numbers are great. Thank you so much. I totally appreciate it all over the world. You can go to Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple, Google, Deezer, GeoSavin, Castbox, wherever you find and listen to podcasts. Find Darth Vader is Your Father. Like it, follow it, subscribe to it, and listen. So I'm back on to talk to you about something that's really quick, that's really interesting, that I didn't realize. It's it's from 77 to 81. A series called Eight is Enough. Starred Dick Van Patten, Betty Buckley, who's a Broadway star, came out a few seasons later. But it starred him, Diana Hyland, and a bunch of kids. He had 8 children, based on a real life story written by a man who worked in Sacramento as a columnist. It was loosely based on that. It was a hit sitcom, but before it started, the pilot, I just found this out. I didn't even know this. I was on YouTube. The pilot had a different, older firstborn son. So in the show, Grant Goody, the actor, played David Bradford for the series. But there was a little surprise. Yes, that is Mark Hamill. That is a screenshot from the pilot. So it's online. I went to YouTube. You can see it. Mark Hamill, pre-Star Wars, played David Bradford in the pilot episode. And in January of 1977, January 11th, he got into January 11th, yes. He got into a bad car accident where he broke his nose and his left cheekbone. With that, and with Star Wars coming out, which came out in May of that year, he wanted to focus on the small screen. And so, of course, no one knew that Star Wars was going to be a big hit. I remember as a kid, I had no idea it was going to be a big hit. I remember seeing it and liking it, but no one had an idea. There was nothing like it before, really, in the movies. He decided to focus on that, which actually when you think about it, his true movie stardom is based on the Star Wars films, basically. Can't remember anything else he's been in that's as big, right? You think I can think of anything, of course. But he's very iconic, of course, and we love him. We love Mark Hamill. Love to have him on the show. Mark Hamill, if you're watching, I'd love to have you on the show. I'd love to have you on the show. Come talk to me. I'd love to have you on the show. What's your time? It would be a total honor to have him on the show. But he wanted to play Luke Skywalker, of course. But Grant Goody took over the role and played David Bradford. I just wonder what would have happened if he decided to do both. The same year, you had John Travolta do Saturday Night Fever while he was on Welcome Back, Kotter. And some folks, they do both. And it's nice because maybe if you take off in one or the other, you stick with that one. Some do both. It's not always easy. But he went on, of course, to movie fame and stopped doing television. I always wonder if Mark Hamill, if Star Wars had been a big hit, would he have stayed on television? He had that television look. He had, he could act. He was cute and young. I could see him on some kind of show. I was trying to picture him on Family Ties. I was thinking about that just saying, like this should come out in the 80s. I just wonder what would have happened if he had stayed in that, or if he'd done both. He was successful in Star Wars, but stayed on television. Nowadays, it's much easier. Back then, usually you picked one or the other. There was a stigma in doing both. So now it's much more easier to kind of say, I'll do both. And now what is TV? That's the next question, right? I was really curious. I feel I watched the pilot and he was good. So I really feel he would have done a great job on there. What if he won an Emmy? What if he was nominated for an Emmy for his role? I can totally see him doing that. Movies is much more vast market, deeper pool. TV is much smaller. Not even just in size, but just in community and scope. What if he was a big TV star? Yes, he came back later and did the Star Wars Christmas special on television, but we don't count that. I'm James Lott Jr., and I just thought it was a nice little fun tidbit to share with you guys. More episodes coming up soon. Take care, everybody.